If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Sponsored by migardener.com, with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents. migardener.com. Weeding is an important aspect of traditional ground gardening, and in some aspects container gardening and raised bed gardening. What we have here is a container that had grass that's coming up from last year. Now we'll look at the root structure of this grass. Many times we see this growing in the ground just as we see here, and we just rip the top off, we pull it up, good enough, throw away. What happens is that's all still underground. That's all going to regenerate. Now when we till, we may disturb and we'll cut this all up with the tines of the tiller into lots of little fragments. Many weeds will propagate from just little tiny cuttings such as that. And then we have now cut this up to 4 or 5 times more than what it normally was, and it will regenerate more weeds. So the goal here is, well, in containers like this where we've got loose soil, see, that's a taproot, that's lamb's quarters there. That is an edible weed, but you can see the root structure that's 6 inches long there, that will, most times you're not going to get out of the ground totally, and it will come back. Clover, garden clover I call it, that's got a 4-inch root on that. So you can see just by pulling, and even in this container, I'm not getting all the roots out of it, but I am getting a tremendous amount of roots out of it. This here is, I think, possibly dill, and you can see the deep taproot there. So just because you weed doesn't mean it's perfect and it's going to be fine until next year. For example, here we've got remnants of dandelions, and we use, when we go in the garden here, we use a garden tine fork. This is what we use. It's a flat tined metal fork that is designed for gardening, and it works good because when the soil is dry or damp, I can get down underneath, just in this instance, that's the dandelion root, that's 6-7 inches there, and they can go up to 18 inches. That's the disadvantage of the dandelion root, but they bring a lot of nutrients up, so this can be good compost material. Items like this, which is Creeping Charlie, many people have messaged us and told about how they have Creeping Charlie as well. It's very fine roots. It will grow underground, then pop up. Here is what we call a wire root. You can see this was underground. All of this was underground. And you can see what's happening. It was generating a new growth tip so it could shoot up right there and shoot back up underground. So there's 4 or 5 inches there of root that you're not going to see until it pierces through the soil. So that's why we use a garden fork. If we just take a shovel and cut, we're not going to get all of these fibers. And weeding at the correct time is important. Damp soil, not solid rock dry soil, not soggy soil, so you can get the most roots out of your garden. Now we purge beds. We have distinct grow beds, permanent walk paths, where we will take a bed or 2 each year and work and purge and try to get as many weeds out of it. It's never going to be 100% perfect, but it greatly reduces, in addition to the amount of mulch that we bring in the fall to do that. I'll look at this for a final example. This is our garlic bed here. We did not mulch this bed at all. This was planted last October, the first Saturday in October, and we didn't mulch at all. These other beds have had 12, 20 inches, 12, 20, 30 inches of leaves mounted on them. Yes, there's certain weeds that are still in there, but it's greatly reduced the amount of weeds that have germinated because of the lack of soil disturbance that we had. We just came in, moved the leaves back, planted right in it, and brought the leaves back around the plants. Here we actually disturbed the soil last midsummer, and you can see we have a tremendous amount of Creeping Charlie, a lot of weeds, a lot of grass here. And see, what we normally do, you'll pull that up, and again, you're not getting all the roots. So weeding, it's a terrible task that we all have to perform. Raised beds, straw bale gardening, container gardening greatly reduces the amount of weeds. But here, hopefully those are some tips that will help your weeding be more effective.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.